What up?
What's up? Your intro reminds me of a marionette.
That's actually so the my label mates that are on the same music label or record label that I'm on. They did that song. It's called "They Say," and he ended up sending me a beat because I was going to practice because we went and did the Shaggy 2 Dope show in Austin just recently, and he sent me the beat so I could remember his words so I could back him up on his verse. And like he only sent me the verse, and I ended up listening to the actual album or the song itself with the words, and I was actually on the song, but I didn't remember that I was on the song, so I didn't perform my verse at the live show.
Oh,
I was like, "What? I was on that?"
They're like, "Yeah, fool."
Yeah, right. He's like, "Yeah, dude, you're at the third verse." I'm like, "I don't remember."
My bad.
Must have been during one of my blackouts. So Mickey G, I got a special request for you. I got a big thunderstorm rolling through, and it's like literally to the left and the right and on top of me. So keep me posted if we start freezing up, because usually during thunderstorms and rainstorms and stuff, my internet starts crapping out. So if you see us like glitching, then keep me posted, because if so, we'll cut the show short, and we'll try to continue it tomorrow just for a little bit before Monica goes on BMR, and try to half and half it. But hopefully we'll be able to ride it out and we won't have any issues. So
yeah, I just tell the kids to stop gaming, because that's
right, yeah, no,
what you're down to. Get off the internet.
That's like jumping in front of a crackhead in between him and a rock. There's no way.
100 bucks and I'll do it.
All right, it checks in the mail. Yeah, so I figured we'd do like just a little continuation, same thing we did last time. I didn't bring my Mad Dog 2020, but I figured we'll just shoot the shite about growing up in the 80s and back in the day, and who knows where the conversation will go. Y'all know how we do it over here. It's not focused by any means. We're like squirrel.
That's so funny, because today, as I was wrapping it up at work, because I had I'm having a real crap time at work right now. Like, I really should have been somebody's trophy wife and not have to work at all. Personally, that's my opinion. But that's not how it rolled out for Monica. So while I'm rolling up my crappy day at work, I was talking with some of my coworkers, and we were showing old photos of each other, and I found a bunch of my old photos from the 80s with my big old hair in high school.
Big old Aquanet hair.
That was it. That's why we don't age, because we're entombed in Aquanet.
Right, yeah.
Aging slower.
You're pickled. You're basically pickled and laminated.
Yeah, I'm laminated.
Dude, so you're did you do the what was that called at the mall where they did like the beauty
the glamour
pics or whatever? Glamour shots, yeah.
No, I never did glamour shots. Okay. No, thank God.
I respect
it. I did Olin Mills, right? Olin Mills. They didn't. You remember that? So I have a photo. I'm gonna have to, like, it's somewhere. I have a copy of it somewhere. It's me and my friend Sherry, and we did Olin Mills. It had to have been my senior year, because the outfit I was wearing, I remember wearing like my senior year in high school. So that would have been like 91. But anyway, yeah, we got the, like, I think my hair's pulled back, but my bangs are all like, perfectly poofed, and they have that heavy like frosted filter, like the blur filter, like over the lens. It's very dated. It's very dated.
Nice. Yeah, I did we got dragged like once every couple of years to do the Olin Mills thing, like the family photo, and I hated it so much. Like, and every single one of them, I'm just like, like, oh.
I imagine you like, the normal looking like 80s family, and you're the kid all in black, just kind of sulking in the background. Then.
Pretty much, yeah. With the freaking, with like the not long enough but not short enough hair. That's looks like I had sideburns at the age of like 8.
You're swarthy. You're a swarthy 8-year-old. That's funny.
And then, well, that in the 90s, then like that's whenever early 90s, like 89, 90. That's when you're like trying to actually look cool because you were trying to catch the interest of chicks.
Sure.
So like I do have one where oh man, it was, what was that? It was in the mall. It was called like Visual Cuts or something like that, but it was like the main haircut place. And and I had them do like a freaking like a Kid and Play flat top.
Oh man, you did the high fade. The old eraser head.
Yeah, I was like, give me the Vanilla Ice,
Oh my god!
And all they did was just make a giant flat top. So every morning I had to freaking sit there and like tease it and freaking straighten it up and Aquanet it, and I was like, nope, never again. I'm letting it grow out.
Yeah, I remember trying to get my bangs like up as high as I could, and like I had so much hair that like the weight of it just wouldn't it wouldn't. And if I ratted it, right? So if I'm ratting it, just that one little section that you rat sticks up, right? And I don't want to like have to comb out what is essentially knots on my skull all night, like right at the end of the night. And I remember just the search for some kind of product that will hold your hair up. And I remember I was visiting my cousin up in Oregon, and we were going out for the night, and she had this stuff, and it was like hair glue. And I'd never heard of it before. And she lives in Podunk, Oregon, and she found it, right? But it kept my hair up, and my hair was like, I was like, oh hell yeah, this like your hair's like It was so bad. It was so bad. And then I was on TikTok earlier tonight, and somebody had a video of like an old 17 magazine from like 1985. Right.
Nice.
And it showed like all the fashion. It was like the back to school edition. And it was showing like the freaking like terry cloth leggings that everybody wore. You remember those things? Like the knit jersey leggings, and it had like a blazer with all these brooches on it. And I was like, oh my God, I remember every last bit of that. I remember every last bit of that.
Yeah, dude, that man, the legging era, dude. that was a crazy one, man.
It's crazy. It's like leggings are popular again. They're not like the style that we had, but you see leggings all over the place now.
Well, yeah. Well, that's how it got whenever, what was it? The Croc shoes came back. And I was like, yeah, those are called jellies.
Yeah,
and
I remember the jellies.
And they suck. Like, that's like when you're like, man, she's got jellies on, dude. But now it's like,
they give you like some crazy like tan lines in the summer. Like your feet would be a checkerboard in the summertime from the jellies.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, that and then it was kind of weird to me because like, towards the late 80s, the way just the outfits turned out, like, because it went from like dull pinks and blues, and then it came into this like bright, vibrant, like remember like like when Fresh Prince came out.
Oh yeah, like the electric colors, right?
Yeah,
yeah. So when I remember when Will Smith, so it was him and DJ Jazzy Jeff, the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff like bust out on the scene. I was like, I think I was in 8th grade because I remember I was still in junior high, 8th or 9th grade. And yeah, oh man, everything was just so crazy back then. I remember yeah, I mean, you didn't show as much, like some of the stuff I see the girls wearing. Like, I was like, we completely covered up. Like,
yeah,
like I wouldn't have been opposed to not like wearing some of the stuff that they have today back then, but like for the most part, like you covered up unless you were going out to a club, and then you wore like the spandex dresses and that kind of shit, right? But that wasn't something that you just like cruise down the street in. Like,
yeah. I mean,
least
even in the summertime, especially for chicks, it was y'all basically wore sweaters, but you just like cuff up the sleeves. You know what I mean? Or the really long baggy shirts and then tie them down at the bottom. You know, and do that little tie thing y'all did. I was like, yeah. And then I remember when my kids were, my oldest daughters, when they were growing up in the 2000s, they had like a little clip thing that you'd like run your shirt through to make that little. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, what the heck? No, you just like, yeah, there you go. And they're like, no, man, you made mistakes.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find a photo that like highlights the fashion of it, because there is a group photo. I did a fashion show. Where's that group photo?
Yeah, my gig was once I got into the rap and hip hop, you know, like in 88, 89. Dude, I would save up all my freaking money and get Z Cavaricis and,
yes,
and troop suits. Man, I remember I got hit by a truck crossing the street.
Holy shit, dude!
Bad. Yeah, and,
yeah, I guess.
And whenever I got there, they started freaking they're like gonna cut my troop suit, and I'm like, no, dude, this is my freaking troop suit. Like, I paid like $60 to $80 for this thing. You are not cutting my troop. They're like, dude, your arm is folded backwards. We're cutting your shit. You know, I'm like, no.
There is, I think I was 18 there. That was like the day that I graduated high school. That was like earlier that day. I'm trying to find a different one. You know, because cameras sucked back then. And it took forever. Oh, here's a good one. So there's me, and yeah, it's me. My cheeks were considerably chubbier. That's like that's legit, like going back to the day.
Yeah, and when you took the photo, like people don't realize, or kids especially don't realize that nowadays, is when you took the photo, you didn't even know if it was going to come out right or not. Like,
oh, right,
you could have had like, you know, been chopped off here and have this much background. You know what I mean?
And you didn't know if you moved, if you blinked. Like, there was no instant gratification. You had to go down to like freaking like the pharmacy or like the Kodak thing in the mall, and you had to turn the film in and then come back like 3 to 4 days later, and then you had to pay for it, and then you could look through the photos. And you know what would make me so mad is like if I finally took a decent photo and like half of my face is gone, or you know, like the top of your head,
or almost definitely you had the red eyes.
Yeah.
Glowing red eyes. Because I remember when technology surfaced, and the first time I saw it wasn't even a digital camera. It was still a regular camera, but it flashed twice. It was like blink, blink, and I was like, dude, that thing just take 2 photos. It's like, no, that's how it gets rid of the red eye effect. It closes your pupil.
Bullshit. That first flash is to make you do this. So like,
then you're all,
you're like closing your eyes from the first flash. Yeah, that was to fuck up your photo, is what that was.
Exactly.
I remember those.
Yeah. And then eventually, what was it?
The camcorders. Right. Mm-hmm. So like, all right. So now like, this is our, like for the youngins, this is our camera, right? This is everything. But back then there were like actual camcorders, and I don't mean like the little handheld ones that you see sometimes. I mean, they were like freaking like camcorder. Yeah, like a movie camera.
Yeah, they took a whole VHS.
Yeah, or they took those crazy little weird disc ones. Like the freaking machine is like as big as your torso, but the little reel that it was on was like this big.
Oh yeah, the Super 8s. The Super 8s. Yeah, yeah. But I remember the first ones I ever saw. My grandma had one, and it took a whole VHS. Like you literally.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like.
And then you look through the viewfinder, right? You'd have to look through the viewfinder to watch the video back, right? Mm-hmm. So you could hit rewind and watch what you just recorded, but you have to like look down through. It's the craziest thing.
Right, or you actually plug it into your TV and then you can. Yeah.
Well, that's for the technically savvy. But like if you're getting action shots in the field, you ain't got a TV. You gotta hit that rewind button and look through the viewfinder. That was pretty freaking cool that you could do it immediately, right? Because we're used to turning our film in over at the Kodak shack. So being able to watch the video like instantly was pretty sweet.
Right. You know, actually, one of the first major consumers of home video recording systems was oh man, right when I start saying stuff I'll lose the name. The dude that played in Hogan's Heroes,
the one that got killed.
Yeah, he was and for nefarious purposes.
Yeah,
he was one of the first actual consumers for personal home video recording systems. Like he put mad money into it. Bob shit. If y'all remember, help me out.
I'm gonna have to Google that crap. Hold on.
Yeah. Bob Crane.
There you go.
I need to come back to me. I'm like Bob Cole. But yeah, so just a little breezy fun fact. Because I remember watching a documentary and they were like, there was no other, non-commercial user for video, home video recording kit, and he was one of them, like the big dog.
Bob was very odd, man.
He was very odd. There's a very weird, and I have yet to confirm it because I think a lot of it's hearsay, but there was a very weird thing about him and Alfred Hitchcock actually abducting females and doing torture stuff, and apparently Hitchcock had like a biting fetish. If you ever remember Hitchcock's grills, just imagine me like
yeah. So
but they all went up and down the wall. What was that?
I said the Cenobite that chatters. Like just
right.
Yeah. I could see Bob doing that for sure. I could see Alfred just like screwing with people's minds, like emotionally torturing women. I don't know about. I mean, he was. I think
the reason why there's not much on it is because none of it's factual. It's just like, and it was on Mulholland Drive, a lot of it. So, back in the day, that was like, if some chick told you, police officer, they'd be like, man, get out of here. There's no way Bob Crane and Alfred Hitchcock abducted you. And,
right. What are you smoking, lady? With your hippie, like freaking, go back and smoke your lettuce, you hippie. Yeah, nobody would have believed him.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, but that brings me to another one. Like, man, the old shows and stuff that we used to watch back in the Gap. Like, and a lot of them, they were almost reruns by the time we got to them. But the great ones, like Dukes of Hazzard, like I remember sitting down with my grandma every, watching all that old stuff. It was, just, I don't know. It's just that feeling of, the 80s. This is the way I put it. And this goes off on a little tangent. So excuse me. But the way I've always put it in like drug terms, right? So like the 60s, the 50s and into the 60s was like the discovery of the drug era. So everyone was hippied out, having fun, everything was, love your brother. Then by the 70s, everybody was like really strung out. So it was like really dark. Like New York was dark, all the videos that you see of people, it's just like a really dull, dark time. And then like the 80s was like the recovery era with cocaine. So everything was like, light and playful, and you had piano neckties and all this weird shit.
I don't know. Like if you've ever done cocaine, it's not light and playful all the time.
It's always been for me.
I mean, it is for about 20 minutes. And then you need to keep hitting that if you want to maintain.
Yeah. It starts out easy, and then you just get stuck in the bathroom all that night.
Yeah, you're just like the bump. Did you ever watch on Adult Swim Metalocalypse?
Yes, I did.
Huh?
Yeah.
You did? Yeah. And I always like when people talk about cocaine, I always think about the cocaine clown. Cocaine. What was it? Roxo? Roxo.
Yeah, in the 90s after Happy Gilmore came out, I don't know, I guess I was like smoking and just came up with the greatest idea in the world. I was like, that's gonna be our new code. It's Tudor McGavin. Like, let's do a Tudor McGavin. They're like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
So yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I think so. I think of Roxo when I hear cocaine, and then so you said you had a code. What was it again? Because you kind of broke up. It was
Tudor McGavin, like from Shooter McGavin, but Tudor McGavin.
That's hilarious. And that was your code for just being goofy, because we had a code. So did I tell you about my code? And this is kind of getting off the 80s and 90s subject, but it was, 2000s, like early 2000s. When we were up in Skookum, we had a code word because there were like groups of us. So when I'd go up after we filmed Monster Quest, like we'd go back every year, and it would be at least like 7 of us there, right, in camp. And we'd be spread out, kind of across this camping area. But at any one point, there could be at minimum 7 people just, chatting around the campfire and whatnot. So, if somebody heard something, instead of always saying, shh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? No, shut up, dude. Did you hear that? Because there's always one person that won't shut up. We came up with a code word to make everyone shut up. And it came from my friend's experience, because at the time he owned a something to do with some business that had to do with computers. And he was in a staff meeting, right, with his staff and his friend. They all had their laptops out there in this meeting. It's a whole company together, and he's conducting the meeting. And I guess one of his staffers was checking his email, and it had a virus on it. And the virus locked the computer, locked it. And it turned the volume all the way up. And no matter what you did, you couldn't shut the computer down. And it started the volume to max. It was like, I'm watching gay porn. I'm watching. It would just start screaming it. And he couldn't, they had to take the battery. This is how long ago it was. They had to take the battery out of the laptop to get it to stop. So that was our code up in Skookum to shut the F up. We think we hear something, as we would just be like, GP, You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't say
right.
We'd say the whole thing. I don't want you to get flagged, even though we're talking about drugs and everything else. But, we would be like in the middle of the night talking, and somebody would be like, "Gay porn," and everybody would have to shut up.
That's a good one.
That was our code word to like eat a bag of shish while we were there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had a bunch of those back then, like, because I'm really creative when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, there was a bunch of those little things that I'd pop out, because like it'd be like Tooter McGavin, and they'd be like, like, all right, I'll be back. I'll meet you in the bathroom in about 10 minutes.
See, I'm good with my nicknames for everybody. Everybody's got a nickname with me. It's because I'm terrible with names when I first meet people, and I don't mean to be. I just really am. I will recognize your face. I will recognize that I know you, but your name will elude me. I cannot remember your name, but I'll remember something about the way you look, or your personality, or what you were wearing that day, or whatever. And if you're just, like, if you're like a stalkery kind of person that just keeps popping up, you're just Sunny Jim. I would call everybody Sunny Jim. Oh, Sunny Jim over there. Just popping up in random places.
we did the nickname things, but it's usually because there was multiple of the same name. So you had like a Mike G, a Mike D, or whatever. True. But I'm horrible. I am freaking horrible with even meeting people and names and faces. Like I can't figure them out to save my life. Like I've literally, I was in Houston one time, and this dude was like, "Breezy," he's like, "What's up, bro?" I'm like, "Hey," I'm like, don't really. He's like, "Dude, are you serious? You don't remember me?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Dude, we went to Mexico. We hung out for like 3 days." Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, no clue." He's like, "Dude, we hung out, we kicked it, partied for 3 days straight." And I'm like,
well, dude, like it doesn't matter. Like if you're bad with names, you're bad with names, right? Or you just don't remember. Like I dated this guy that we met. It was like right after I graduated high school, and all the girls, we used to cruise. So I don't know if that's even something that kids do anymore, but we cruise.
Yeah.
Right? We go cruising. And there were these group of guys, like, that we were in this parking lot. So me and my girlfriends, like, we pulled in the parking lot and we're talking to him. And this guy that I ended up dating for a few months, we called him Flower Guy, because he was like he was trying to, give me a flower or something like that. So I couldn't remember his name at first. So he was just Flower Guy for a while. I'm going on a date with Flower Guy. And then I've got a coworker, like the company that I work for currently. And I mean, now he's like one of my best friends, but I could not remember his name. I could not remember his name to save my life when I first started at the company. But he's tall, and he looks like an old school Spaniard. And I was talking to my friend who owns the company, and I was like, who like the tall Spanish guy, like we have 100 tall Spanish guys. And I'm like, he looks like, I called him the Conquistador. I was like, the Conquistador. He looks like old school, like he should be holding like a spear and have a metal helmet on.
The metal helmet.
Yeah, because he had the beard and he has like the long, thin, like Spanish nose. And I'm like, the Conquistador. So that's what I called him for like probably the first year that I worked there. I didn't call him by his name. I called him by the Conquistador. That's just how it happens.
Yeah, I think, but that's how it was. I mean, I remember everybody having, nicknames, and it wasn't always the ones that you never really got to pick your own. It was like it got picked
the worst
amongst the group. Whenever you're hanging out with and I'm talking like when you're, bike riding days, like fifth grade, late elementary, early middle school, and everyone, all it took was like one fuck up or one bad bicycle wreck or
Right.
busted eye or something, and then that you're stuck with it. That's it. You know,
Right.
you just it's over with. You like hate
Yeah, I
it or
never had
not.
one growing up. I never had a nickname growing up. I got a bunch of them now. A bunch of them now. I didn't have any like growing up.
Yeah, I did. I had a few of them.
At least
Biggin
none
was
that
one
I
of
knew
them.
of. Yeah.
I was like always the biggest kid in the group, so Biggin was one. Like, hey, Biggin.
That's
Yeah,
original.
yeah. And then of course, whenever you get into when you're still a young kid, you get into popular movies. You end up catching a movie nickname. You know, I remember after watching Young Guns, my fucking homeboy, he called me Doc for like 4 years straight. He'd be like, "What's up, Doc?" I'm like, dude,
Oh,
like, come
now
on, man. I'm
wasn't that
not
Kiefer
Kiefer
Sutherland's
Sutherland. Yeah,
character?
it's Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Oh
like,
man, I had a
why
crush
can't I
on
be
Kiefer Sutherland.
why can't I be Chavez? Like that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I want to be Chavez.
For real.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, yeah, oh my God, I had the biggest crush on Kiefer Sutherland. Like everything Stand By Me, like Ace, when he played Ace in Stand By Me. And then, of course, David in The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever, I know we're kind of still straying a little bit, but I don't care. Have you ever read The Body?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah. The
dude,
short story.
The way they get them back, the way the older gang gets them back at the very end, that's never shown in the movie. That's fucking crazy, dude. Like,
I know.
They break their bones and shit.
Yeah, like he couldn't walk for a couple of days. Like like Will Wheaton's character, like when they get a hold of him, like he didn't go to they didn't put him in the hospital, but he definitely wasn't walking for a few days.
Yeah, they fucked his legs up, and then they broke like 3 or 4 bones in his hand, and some old lady came out of her house and was like, "You boys get off of him," and then they ran off. But yeah, and then one of them, what was it, Vern?
Yeah,
they actually like threw him down the stairs and like broke bones, and they messed up.
Yeah. Well, I remember Will Wheaton's character. They held him down and like curb stomped his balls, to where like I remember he was describing like it like they swelled up. That's why you couldn't walk, is because of that. And
that's what it was.
They do in the book, the short story does like go into each character and describe like what happened to each character.
Right. And then also how they died, because it wasn't just
in life, what happened in life with them.
Yeah. Because it wasn't just the River Phoenix's character that passed away, because that's what you think. Because in the end on the movie, he's like, he ended up becoming owning his own grocery mart. Yeah. But no, like they died all like, I think Vern died in a house fire, in a fraternity house fire. Corey Feldman's character, he ended up becoming a drunk because he couldn't get into the army, and he crashed and killed. They were drinking and driving and crashing the car. Very, and it
was dark at the end, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and especially the dream that he has, like in the movie when they're at the campfire, and he just has his dad, and he's like basically like the wrong boy died, kind of a thing. That dream is actually in the movie is very dark, because it's talking about them, because they're like zombies, and he's like in a pond or whatever, and they're like pulling him down, and it's like a representation of what River Phoenix's character talks about later on in the book. Like, you can't be, you can't keep you're only stupid if you're letting your friends drag you down,
right?
Like, you gotta be better than this, Gordy, blah blah blah. Yeah. But that was a great 80s movie, so I guess that works too, right?
Yeah. I remember when that came out too. That was so cool, because it was filmed like kind of near where my cousins live, where I used to spend my summers. I think it was like the next county over. but I remember like I was like, oh, it looks real familiar, like because I think when I had the opportunity, I Googled like the filming locations because I Google film locations for everything, like everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just because if I like what it looked like, and I'm just curious, and especially like back in the day, like the movies that I'm like, that looks real familiar. Like, what was going on there? Like the ending scene in Goonies was filmed at one of the beaches that like I grew up on, essentially, like where the pirate ship's sailing away. Yeah, it's out at pretty sure it was Goat Rock that they filmed it at on the Sonoma Coast. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you ever like go chase them down and go purposely go to the spot?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's how I want to. I haven't done it yet because my time is so limited when I go out to visit, right? When I go home to visit, I've only, got a week, and, everybody's got an agenda. They want to do something, or I just want to, chill. But I do want to get up to Russian Gulch where they filmed The Howling. So the scene where they're on the beach, the two women are on the beach talking. And then also the scene where the best friend who had come up to be, came up to help Dee Wallace's character, where she's climbing up the cliffside and she turns around and she recognizes the scene as one that Eddie had sketched, right? So she pulls out the sketch and she's matching it up. She's like, the scene is at the Colony. So that is that is Russian Gulch. So I want to make it out there and just, check it out.
That would be dope.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the camp, like where the cabin scenes were filmed, where the actual colony was supposed to be, where they filmed the scenes for that is a private campground up in Mendocino County. But they have retreats every year. So if you like sign up to go on one of these retreats, you can essentially stay where they filmed the Howling, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Or you can rent it out yourself. Like the camp's up for rent, but you got to rent like the whole dang thing. And you got to I think you have to be like an organization or some kind of, company essentially.
Oh yeah, a company like an LLC type thing.
Yeah. Because I thought, how cool would it be to do like a conference? Like I can slap an LLC together, real fast and rent it out if I wanted to do that. Which I would do anyway if I was doing a conference just for legal reasons, right, to protect myself if somebody falls and breaks a leg or something. But I always thought that would be cool. Like, how cool would it be to put something together and just rent that thing out and just have everybody come up, for the weekend?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Definitely. No, that's like what we were talking about last night. You actually got my brain ticking on that one because we could do, I think I counted it out. I think it's 15 people. It's 4 cabins, but I think the capacity is 15. Plus you can put tents out also. It's like $10 a night for tents.
That's pretty sweet.
I'm going to talk to Roy and Lisa and see if we can actually do like promote it and have people from the chats from your channel and mine, and maybe do like a raffle type of a thing, throw in, and it wouldn't even be much because like those cabins, they go for like $128 a night. But I'm pretty sure that, I can finagle, and also it's promotion for them. So
sure.
Be like, hey, we'll just do like a $10 raffle per person, or something like that, so $10, and then we could all go out and do the other filming locations.
Yeah.
Now you stirred my brain with that one. I was like, why the fuck didn't I think of that?
I got all kinds of ideas, chock full of ideas.
But yeah, that'd be dope, man. So,
are you shedding?
Yeah, I am. It's summertime, so I shed like a freaking dog during summer, and it's not like broken pieces of hair. It's like,
the whole hair,
whole strand, yeah. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, my hair just does that naturally because I'm freaking old. Like that, I could never commit an actual murder because I would never get away with it. I'd leave hair all over
the too much hair.
Yeah, they'd be like, I wonder who did this. Like, wouldn't take long to solve that crime, is all I'm saying.
Right. We could have solved that during Adam 12 back in the day. That's how easy it was.
Dragnet.
Right, yeah. Dude, that was a great, and a lot of people hated it. That was a great 80s movie. It
was fun.
Movie of Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd and Michael Keaton. Was it Michael Keaton?
No, it was
the
Burbs.
Forrest Gump dude.
Yeah. Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, yeah.
Yeah. And the Burbs. Loved the Burbs.
Was great. Yeah.
I love the Burbs.
Yeah, the Burbs reminds me of, and I personally think that is like basically like not a reboot or a remake, but it's the same baseline as the original was Alfred Hitchcock's Rear
Window. Yeah,
right.
I love that movie. That's a great movie.
And Fright Night, that was like the second quote unquote version of it, where he thinks there's a killer next door type thing.
Right.
And then of course the Burbs, and then there's another one that was done with that Shia LaBeouf kid or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, where he breaks his leg and he gets into a car crash with his dad in the beginning, and his dad.
Like Suburbia. I
think that's it.
Yeah. I never watched that one. I didn't.
But yeah, it's the same thing. Just
right. They're good movies. Alfred Hitchcock was awesome, and I love that he filmed around Sonoma County, which was pretty sweet.
Disturbia, that's what it was.
Disturbia, there you go. Yeah. I'm like Suburbia,
Suburbia, actually,
in the backyard.
Yeah, when you said Suburbia, that I recently watched it, and it's called Suburbia, and it takes place. It's an 80s flick, and I was watching it for the first time at Roy. He has a literal movie theater in his house. And so he's like, yeah, I just got this movie. I don't know what it's about, but me and him love the 80s. And turns out it was like a total 80s flick. And the squat punk kids, Mike Hunt. And Flea is in it, from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And he's in the credits, his name is Mike B. the Flea, because his name is like Mike B. something in real life. But I was like, Mike B. the Flea. That's how that stuck, and I'm like, I'm like,
what movie was he in where he played a tattoo artist? It was in the early 90s. It was a Pauly Shore movie where he, the farmer's daughter goes to college, comes back. God, what was the name of that gosh darn movie? I love that movie.
Oh, Son-in-Law?
Yes, Son-in-Law. I loved that one. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Back in the day. But I remember Flea's line. He's like, it's better than a kick in the face with soccer cleats. She was like, will the tattoo hurt? I can just random quotes. Like if you're friends with me, if we're hanging out, I'm just going to randomly quote some freaking obscure movie, and I'm just going to sound insane. I'm just quoting random shit that you probably aren't going to be able to put together in the moment.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll say something, and it's literally like a quote from a flick that's, to me, is popular, but like Jen, she's a lot younger than me. So like if I spit it and she doesn't know what I'm talking about, she's like, she instantly thinks I'm insulting her or something, And I'm like, dude, what? She's like, what did you say? I'm like, no, I swear it's from, and I'm in trouble. That's it.
See? Yeah. I'll just do that. Like, oh my gosh. So I'll just be sitting there like, you guys will be having a conversation. I'll be over here in my own head, and I will just say it quote. Like, has nothing to do with anybody's conversation because Monica's in her own head. And I'm like, yeah, man, like I'll be thinking about like the Venture Brothers, right? And I'll be like, like, just a quote from one of the shows, one of the episodes. You know, I'll just it's
great. I remember wasn't too long ago. I was around, like all my kids were at the house. It probably was a little while ago, maybe a year, and had all my kids, and they're all talking and shit, and you know, some of them are arguing with others, and no, you did this, blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm surrounded by assholes. You know, what? Like, yeah, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Oh, the one I do all the time, because my friend, bless his heart, my friend, he's always talking about like everything he does that's awesome. Like, I did this, and you know, I helped so and so, and they told me that I'm just really invaluable to them. And like, it's an insecurity thing, right? It's just, he doesn't realize he's doing it. But I get tired of hearing it after a while, you know, when the entire conversation is about you. And I'm just like, Brewster, you're so cool. You know, from Fright Night.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like, Ferris Bueller, you're my hero. Or I'll just say his name. I'll be like, Edward, you're my hero. Yeah, I don't think he even knows what I'm quoting because he's so much younger than me. But that usually shuts him up.
Yeah, that's the hilarious part, man. Especially when you're around younger cats. They're like, you know, because I went through a trend where I was in my 30s and I was like only dating like 21 or 22-year-old chicks. And like every time I'd have them, I'd be like saying, you know, quotes from shit. And they're like, the hell are you talking about? And then thinking back on it, I'm like, yeah, I must have sounded completely out of my nugget, you know, just.
Somebody who has no comparison. They don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You know? And then I'll be like, you know, I'll say something like from something like a series or something like God. I'll be like, oh, that's just like The Godfather. And they're like, what's The Godfather? And I'm like, dude, now we got to spend the next 9 hours.
Yeah. No, please don't do that to me. Yeah. Like, I think I told you, one of my coworkers, he loves Andrew Dice Clay, right? Which I thought was interesting that he even knew who Dice was. But then I told him, I was like, have you seen Ford Fairlane? You know, the movie he did? Because I love Ford Fairlane. I can quote the shit out of that movie too. Anyway, he's like, nah, man, I didn't even know he did a movie. And I was like, I guess I should just be happy that you know who Andrew Dice Clay is. Because most kids your age probably don't even know who that is anymore. Aside from like, you know, somebody's grandpa on a TV series, you know.
Right. Yeah, another one that was, well, I mean, in our time he was popular as shit, but like now a lot of people have no clue. But Dennis Leary, like Dennis Leary, you know, like even the I'm an asshole video, you know, I'm an asshole.
I can sing that. Yeah.
Yeah. And people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, dude, you remember the dude? He was in, you know, what was that one? The Sylvester Stallone flick, where he's the cop in the future. Sandra Bullock, Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, Judge Dredd?
No, it was something, man. It was.
I don't watch a lot of Stallone movies. Sorry.
It was Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, Rob Schneider. Demolition Man. Thank you, Rich.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, he's the dude from Demolition Man. They're like, what the fuck is Demolition Man?
So I watch The Ref every Christmas. So we all have Christmas movies, I'm sure, that like we got to watch, right? The Ref is one of mine. And I love, because Dennis Leary plays the cat burglar who's like trapped in this home with this completely dysfunctional family. And he's like, oh, Connecticut is the fifth ring of hell. And I mean, you're a liar. Capital L, capital I, capital A, capital R, liar.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember when he was getting popular, it was MTV actually. Like he was doing the MTV rants. That was like,
yeah, and he hooked up with Colin from MTV because Colin was doing remote control, right? Because he was part of like game shows. Yeah, Colin was.
Okay, yeah. Wow, you just tied two pieces together for me. I didn't even think of that. That's crazy.
Back when MTV.
Yeah, when they played music. Oh shit. Not to be off subject, but since you said Christmas movies, I do have a brand new, because it's very rare that I have a new Christmas movie that I'll watch on Christmas. But it's a semi horror flick, I guess you could say, but more of an action. But it's called Violent Night. And
yes, the one that just came out. Yes, with David Harbour. Yes, dude. I love David Harbour.
That deserves the slow clap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's a great. And for any of y'all out there who hasn't seen it, that will become a new Christmas movie. He's like, oh, holy shit! I fucking love that one, dude. And I took it on a whim because I'm very weary about watching new movies, but there are a few that I found that are like new gems to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of them is it's called Destroy All Neighbors. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's on Shudder. It's on Shudder, I believe. But
I'll have to check it out.
It's called Destroy All Neighbors, and you don't realize it, but it stars Alex Winter from.
Oh man, I love Alex Winter.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and their Bogus Journey.
And Bill and Ted was the last one.
He was in Lost Boys. He played Mark O in the Lost Boys.
But there was a third Bill and Ted.
There was? Oh yeah, the one that just came out. I didn't see that, which sucks.
It was pretty good.
Man, I love Bill and Ted. Love Bill and Ted.
It was better than part 2, but not as good as part 1.
Well, the first one, yeah. Something strange is afoot at the Circle K.
Yeah. But no, that Destroy All Neighbors is so Alex Winter. He plays two different people. One you don't even realize it's him because, well, I mean you might if you really look into it. But when I started watching it, because it says starring Alex Winter, and I was like, dude, I'm like 3/4 of the way through this movie, and I haven't even seen this cat. You know, like how's it starring him? Because he's under makeup. But it's like it's basically like a man's descent into madness, and you get to watch him just like lose his shit. But it's comedy and it's horror, so it's really it'll have you like your side hurting, but you're like, damn, that's gruesome as shit, you know, that kind of a flick.
I have to check that out then.
Yeah. George Carlin.
For new things, man, I love George Carlin.
Oh,
and he was so accurate about everything. Do you ever notice how other people's stuff is shit and your stuff is stuff, but the other people's stuff is
get on the plane. Fuck you, I'm getting in the plane.
Right, exactly. I remember, okay, so I went with in high school, my boyfriend's family got tickets to see Gallagher. And I had no clue who Gallagher was back then. I thought it was George Carlin because I was like, I couldn't remember George Carlin's name. And he goes, you know, he's that really, really, really funny comedian. And I was like, George Carlin popped in my head, but I couldn't like remember his name. I just saw his face. And I said, is he the guy that wears the black turtleneck on stage? Because, you know, that's how I associated Carlin at the time. And he's like, yeah, that's him. Man, I was so excited. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go see this guy. We were like in the third row or something. And freaking Gallagher comes out. And I was like, this dude looks like Crosby. I was like, this dude's
right, yeah.
looking like Crosby. And there are people like with tarps, and I'm like, what the hell do people have tarps for? And he's like, he smashes watermelons. And I was like, he does? I was like, because I'm thinking, and still at this point thinking Carlin. I'm like, I don't remember him smashing anything. So then, like freaking Crosby walks out basically, and I'm like, shit. I was like disappointed the whole show. I was like, pissed off I wasn't seeing George Carlin.
Dude, some of my favorite ones are, man, like when he was in Jay and Silent Bob. What was that? Which one was it? He was in the Return of Jay and Silent Bob or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's a homeless dude. I won't even get to it on here because YouTube will definitely be like, no, you're not allowed to do that. But yeah, and Dogma, Mickey G.
Oh, I love Dogma. I do. But you know what I really love is Mallrats. I can quote the shit out of Mallrats too.
Yeah.
And people don't know it. Like when I'm like being a real smartass on social media, I'm always like snoochy boochie moochies, like smoochy boochies or something like that. And people don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, Mallrats was, man, I remember not even realize, because when I saw Mallrats, I didn't even put it into the View Askew-niverse or whatever, because that's what those are all called. It's the View Askew-niverse. What up, Jackie? And so I was just like, because I was thinking of, was Ryan Reynolds or whatever. What's his name? Not Ryan Reynolds. He used to be a skater kid. He was a skater first, and then he's the main dude in Mallrats. I guess
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
I just saw Deadpool, so that one stuck in his name stuck in my head.
Man, I need to go see Deadpool.
Oh, dude, it was awesome.
The Merc with the mouth. I love Deadpool. I was gonna dress up for Domino for Halloween. I was thinking that'd be sweet. But then I'd have to get somebody to dress up like Deadpool. Nobody knows who the fuck Domino is. Like I'd have to be like, yeah, I'm a character. Like carry a comic book around.
Yeah, well, it's Jason Lee.
Get up. I mean, it's just like a black, suit. Just have to slap some holsters on.
Right.
And then, paint my face white and put the black thing there.
I would dress up as Deadpool, but it ended up being Fatpool.
I just need somebody. I need a partner. Nobody ever wants to dress up Halloween with me. Like I'm like the only person that does it. It's sad. It's sad, Joe.
No, we go all out. Like I'll later on, I'll send you some pictures of me and Jen doing, because we actually dress up like, not as, we don't like cosplay as much, but we dress up creepy. Like when she was pregnant, she was like about to bust, because Jaden was born in November 13th, on Friday the 13th.
Oh wow. Okay.
And yeah, and so she was like too prego to really walk around. So I did this whole like doctor outfit, but with like a gas mask, like smog thing, and a top hat, and wheeled her around, and she was like a dead doll. Like got her freaking neck cut and with blood dripping out of it. And so like I'm like wheeling the patient around, I'm like fogging up. I can't see anything. I don't know where I'm going down the streets, and but people were like, dude, like, dude. But I had my white contacts in it so they could see through and see the white contacts. They're like, nope, not at all. I made like little kids cry and shit.
Oh, I did that a couple years ago when I dressed up like the plague doctor. Right? Because I dress up to dress up. Like I've done like a Katarina twice, right? Which isn't too bad. But then I did, what did I do? I did the Purge one year with the mask, right? With the electric mask, and like I had blood all over me, but I had on like the workout outfit with the fishnets tights and I had a real knife because it's me. Should have had a baseball bat is what I should have had. But I was carrying a knife. And then what did I do? I did then I did the plague doctor. And like, because you're covered head to toe. And it does not show off your any kind of curve. So it could be a dude or a lady under the, get up. And man, I freaked out. A lot of my coworkers, like our laborers who were, maybe not as familiar with American Halloween traditions. There's this broad and there's like freaking pointy black mask. You can't see anything because, I had the, where I could see through the lenses of the mask, but I had painted my, like from here up with solid black. So you couldn't see anything. And they were freaking out. Like I was getting this shit. Then we went into the neighborhood to take my son trick-or-treating. And there were kids like literally like they'd see me walking down the street and they would like run to their parents, or this one little girl, like, because we were on the same sidewalk and there wasn't anywhere for this kid to go, right? Because we were walking like on a side street. So there's just fences there. She ran up and she put her head into the fence and like wouldn't look at me and started crying. And I felt so bad. I didn't mean to scare her.
No, that's good. Yeah, like I literally, like when I do my clown outfit because I wear like a Grim Reaper thing, and I'll stay in character. So I'll get into the car because we're gonna go down, and then I'll see like little kids walking by the window, like looking at me, and I was just like, like, right. Dude. I saw earlier Porky's.
Yeah.
Dude, in March we had the Porky's reunion out here at the gas station. They throw it's not necessarily horror, but a lot of it is horror. But it's a cult classics convention.
Oh man, I love Porky's.
Dude, we had the whole Porky's reunion.
That would have been so cool to go to.
Dude, it just so happens like Meat died like maybe 2 weeks before it.
Oh, I didn't even know he died. Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away like 2 weeks before it. But it was fucking crazy because the night, what was it? Friday night, and then Friday night's where everyone goes to the hotel. All the actors, actresses are checking in. So we party at the lobby at the hotel. And then Saturday night, if you have the VIP, you go on the second floor and they have a whole giant, like I guess like a conference room or whatever. And everybody goes over there and parties. So like Friday night, I get there and I'm literally hanging out and doing shots with all the dudes from Porky's, and like I'm like, yeah, dude. They're like, dude, this one time, and I'm like, it's like very fucking surreal, And I highly recommend it for anybody because a lot of the times we do when we do the convention, we'll have reunions. So like one time we did a Killer Clowns from Outer Space reunion.
Sweet.
And yeah, so you're out there, smoking and chilling with, the Killer Clowns and shit. and even did a oh man, it's right. It's like literally right over there. Weird Science reunion.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm drinking and hanging out with Michael Berryman, and yeah,
you have a bra on your head.
Yeah.
That was so funny. Would you like to eat a greasy pork sandwich served up in a dirty ashtray? That reminded me, oh man, of the in Porky's, I think it's Porky's 2, where the senator's trying to take her out to the fancy restaurant down in Miami, and she pretends to throw up in the fountain.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember watching those. Man, like of course it was the 80s. You have like this little 13-inch television and we had it in our back room where we used to play Nintendo and stuff. It was like kind of like a playroom, I guess. But it had a bed in there, so me and my brothers, man, we'd pile up, sit there, and you'd hear that dun 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 dun. Na, 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 in the HBO thing soaring through the city, and you're like, and then watching like dirty movies, you watch it Porky's like, dude, there's a boob, bro. God.
You're in the shower. The funniest one
right.
Oh God, Ballbricker was trying to get them to do a lineup so she could identify.
Yeah.
Remember, it had a very distinct mole on it. I know if I could see it again, I could identify it.
Actually, I was talking to them, and so that scene in the shower where he puts his wang through the hole, and she's like, tugging on it. So that was actually what they did. Is they got drunk. They were all drinking, and they were like, they wanted to use a prosthetic, and so they were all drinking and hanging out. This is what they told me. I mean, it is what it is. But they went out to a strip club, and they were talking to chicks, and they were like, "Who's the like the most hung dude And she was like, down the street, there's a gay bar, and there's this dude and so they paid him, I think, like, I can't remember exactly how much, so I won't front and say it, but not much, like $50 or $100 to actually do that shot. So that's not a prosthetic that she's tugging on. It's like,
oh my gosh,
that dude actually put his meat through the freaking thing, and she got, and that's why if you really watch it, apparently it's like a real quick from when she actually grabs it, and then it focuses back on her, and it's like movie illusion type stuff.
Right.
But yeah, that was actually some dude's junk they pulled from the gay bar, because he was well known for having a well amount of junk.
A fair amount to like grab onto and yank. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I was like, no shit, dude. I always thought that was fake. He's like, nope.
Oh my gosh.
That was
I didn't even think about whether or not it was fake. I was laughing so hard.
But yeah, it's cool, like, at those conventions, because like there's been so many of them that I've gone to. I think I'm on my 6th or maybe 7th year, but you actually get to, because it's Texas. It's not like one of these big, Frightmare. I mean, Frightmare is in Texas, but it's not one of these big ones. So like, you actually get to sit and hang out with the people and actually do shots and BS with them. And I'll have to send you some pictures. You'll be like, dude, no kidding. Like, it's freaking crazy.
That would be so cool. Yeah, heck yeah.
And I'll actually get you and Chris some tickets for the next one coming up. Sweet. They're doing it tonight. Literally, there's a Cult Classics. They do one in Baton Rouge around this time, and then the first weekend of March, they do one here in Bastrop.
Cool.
So, yeah, I'll get you some VIPs. No,
that'd be sweet. Hell yeah, I'll go hang out with people.
Yeah, it's just a big party, man. That's all it is.
That's what I'm talking about. It's been a minute since I've been to anywhere that was just a big party.
Yeah, but with famous people, like
yeah.
and then like we had the dude who plays Chucky in one of the later ones, because they needed a live body actor, and he also played in one of the Leprechauns, I believe. I got his autograph back there somewhere. But yeah, that dude, he's from Canada, right? And he's a little person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that dude, like, pound for pound, he drank like a 12-pack of beer, but he's like 3 foot tall. Yeah, and I'm like,
damn.
Dude. And he's from Canada, so he's like the nicest dude in the world. So he's like, yeah, man, blah, blah. You know, he comes up to me. He's like, oh, I heard you used to do music. And I'm like talking, you know, yeah, he actually is. He's like,
I
yeah,
sure did.
yeah, what really, yeah. He's like, oh, that sounds really awesome. So where can I find your music and blah? Just super, super nice dude, you know.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, so but you're like, and he's like, can I get another 6-pack? Like,
Can
dude,
you?
to me that, yeah, I'm like, to me that's like probably an 18er. I mean, I can do it, but
Let's
no,
see.
he wasn't Hornswoggle. He was another dude. I forgot his name.
Tex is
One of the
here. How's the night
right there.
going, Tex? Because he's at work right now, I think. Right? Or getting ready to be.
Oh, Texas in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, I read his comment. Didn't even read the name. My bad, Tex.
So
Well,
somebody
no,
mentioned Caddyshack, which is another one that I can just quote into the ground. Love Caddyshack.
yeah.
The little gopher.
FYI on Caddyshack, most of the because Bill Murray wasn't really like known to all them cats, so they really didn't know him, and
Mm-hmm.
he kind of did like that method acting where he stays in his role, and he the scene where he like pulls the pitchfork and puts it up against the dude's neck, like that was pretty authentic because he was actually like poking that dude's neck with a real freaking, and it drew blood.
With the
But
time.
they didn't know that. Yeah, but they didn't know who he was. They were like, "Who is this?" They didn't realize
He
he
was
was a
a
comedian.
psychopath.
Yeah, he was just a psychopath, and they're like, "What the?" You know? Yeah. And also, that that was the one. Yeah. So Rodney Dangerfield was in that one. Chevy Chase was in part 2, right?
No, Chevy Chase was in the first Caddyshack.
And then Rodney Dangerfield was in 2.
In the first one. He was.
Yeah, he was
They
in
were
the
both
first
in the
one
first
also.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So a fun fact about Rodney Dangerfield is he wasn't asked to get that role, but he like basically busted into the dude that played Eon Spangler and Ghostbusters. Um, he basically busted into his thing and
To
got to
Spengler.
his death. Who played
Okay.
Spangler? Yeah, yeah. I think that,
Um,
yeah, because he was the director of Caddyshack, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I forgot his name.
I see his face. I totally forgot
Egon.
his name too.
Egon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Egon.
Egon. But he basically just kind of like muscled in and walked in his office and just started dumping lines of yayo. Started cutting lines of coke and was like, "So you gonna give me this role or what?" You know. And he said that he wore an open robe with nothing on underneath it. So it's like, yeah, he was like, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe how huge Rodney Dangerfield's package was because he's just like open robe, just hanging out." I was
Oh
like,
my
"Yeah,
god.
yeah, we're gonna get this role." Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
it was in an interview I watched. Can't remember what I think it was a National Lampoon's interview or something like that, where they said that yeah, like he used to do that all the time. He'd go to like the after hours parties and just show up with like a pocket full of coke and an open robe with nothing on underneath it and be like, "Hey, how's everybody going over here?"
I had a coworker like that. You just like he wasn't trying to be a perv. He just was oblivious to what he was doing. Like he sent a selfie from the toilet once. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Or you sent a picture. I'm just cooking dinner here. So he's cooking dinner with like Rodney Dangerfield style, right? Open robe, like taking a shot. He thinks he's just he wasn't paying attention. Just thinks he's taking a shot of the stove, and everybody on the text thread is like close your robe, man, because if that grease starts spitting, that's gonna hurt. People are crazy.
Yeah, Harold Ramis. Yeah, that's what.
There we go.
Yeah, it does. But see, I like the realness of how it was back then. Like, you know, even behind the scenes in the movies or music, I mean, we can get on the music and be like, talk about how much, and yes, even in the 70s and 60s, like music people were known to be, big drug doers or alcoholic, but like it was publicly known, like if you start looking at Motley Crue, like, they're like down in freaking bottles of Jack during their live performances.
Yeah, they weren't hiding it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like it was like later on you find out,
oh my gosh, they were drunk.
Yeah.
I never would have thought.
Yeah. What do you mean Richie Valens was drinking? No.
Right.
But that whole just that carefree attitude, and because I guess what people consider conservative nowadays, or what people consider taboo, was back in our days, that was like, known. You know what I mean? It was just like the way it is. That's just how it was.
People weren't, it wasn't scandalous. It was almost expected of you. If you,
and
were living a certain lifestyle, if you weren't, just like going balls out with the liquor and the drugs and everything, then, what's wrong with you? I think they'll let you.
If you were a sober a sober rock star, you're weird.
Well, I mean, Ted Nugent. Okay, so Ted Nugent didn't really, or at least he says he didn't. Right? He was in it for the girls. He wasn't in it for the for the drinking and the drugs. But he would be the exception, I'm sure.
Right. Alice Cooper too. Alice Cooper, and
but Alice Cooper used to. I think but he sobered up. Like he used to.
I thought he was one of those that never did any.
No, I thought he used to, but then I 100% could be wrong. But
no, I'm thinking Dee Snider.
Yeah.
Dee Snider claims he never did. And he also claimed
he also started dating his wife when she was like 14. So that was another thing that was like freaking A-okay with everybody at some point, because I mean, let's consider Aerosmith, right? He got like legal guardianship of a 14-year-old and went on tour with her.
Yeah.
Freaking nobody batted an eye, apparently. So.
Yeah. No, it's very disenchanting. I got what was it, 2019 or something, when Elvira came out with her autobiography or whatever, the Years Cruelly. Elvira, she pulls, because she was like she wasn't a groupie, right? But she was one of those, when she was like 14, 15.
All right.
She used to go to hunt bands down when they come into town, because she lived in like Podunk ass Kansas, right?
All right.
And so that was like what her and her friend did. They go, I want to go meet the band, and they'd chase the band down to their hotel. And there's more than I can count on two hands, people that we like looked at as like, rock gods or whatever, that were like trying to get the goodies, and I'm like, dude, oh man, not Hendrix. I
know. I remember talking about Hendrix, and I was like, that's
yeah. Robert Palmer, freaking I mean, yeah, it's just the dude.
None of it like shocks me anymore. Like all the shit that I've heard over the years.
Or not Robert Plant, yeah.
Like,
but yeah, that was people go, well, it was different back then. Like Elvis, married Priscilla, when she was like 14 or something.
Well, that's when they started seeing each other.
Yeah,
they didn't get married until much later.
Yeah,
but
still, yeah.
Like, no, totally still. That's still not okay. But they didn't get married. I mean,
right? Not cool. Yeah, it wasn't official until, but yeah, it's just like, and they go, yeah, well, that was just back in the day, and I'm like, part of me is like, okay, I had a different ideology, but still, it's fucked up. sorry and shit. Like,
yeah.
Even though you can think it's different all you want, but it's
you know what I found out that I didn't know is was it Ione Sky? I think it was Ione Sky. She dated the lead singer of the Chili Peppers.
Oh yeah,
Anthony.
Yeah,
Kiedis, right?
Kiedis,
So she was with Kiedis when he was in his 20s, and she was like, she had just turned 17, like just turned 17. Which, I mean, I don't know. I remember being 16, 17-ish. I mean, 18's the magic number, but honestly, there's no difference between 17 and 18 to me.
Right.
Like when I was 17, I knew it just as much as I did when I was magically 18. So,
right.
I mean, when you start getting into like 14-year-olds, that's where like it.
Well, he did have like a 13 or 14-year-old girlfriend at one time too.
Well, I think there was this rumor going around that she was like 14 or 15 when they started dating. And I follow her on TikTok, and she like did this whole thing, and she's like, no, I was not like 15. She goes, I was 17. Right. And her brother was pissed. Like her brother did not like, oh God, what's his name? He was an actor. He was in the remake of The Blob. God damn it. I forgot his name. I see his face.
I'm drawing a blank. Yeah.
I gotta Google him now. The Blob remake. Let's see. Because I can see his face, but I cannot remember his name to save my life. Donovan Leitch.
Donovan Leitch. Yeah, Time Traveler Into the Night. That is a creepy freaking. Yeah, it's so weird, man. Not to laugh about it, but it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling where my mind's like poured in a bottle. But no, it's just freaking weird like that, dude. How they have that same kind of concept. And I was actually listening to My Love or Your Love, right? That Jody's on a vacation far away.
Yeah.
Come around and talk it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's even.
I like my girl's a little bit older. Blah da 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 da.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. When I really started like listening to those lyrics, I was like, "You creepy perv."
Exactly. But that drum intro is just so hardcore. Yeah, man.
I mean, yeah, there's this one channel also, like they break down like creepy song lyrics. Like the whole thing is nothing but like creepy song lyrics. And they'll like start off with like, oh yeah, they're into it, and then they start like their face just changes as they're listening to the lyrics. They're like, oh, I don't know about that.
Dude, I love the like Generation Z, like their reactions to, and I'm not talking about these kind of songs or whatever, but just their reaction to our old stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I love watching those.
I love watching it.
I love just seeing them experience it for the first time, right? Like my favorite was Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. Like watching young generations like listen to Freddie Mercury just belt it out, man. It's just the look on their faces, because they either really don't like it or they love it. And 9 times out of 10 they're loving it, because I mean, what's not to love?
Right. Now and this brings up something totally different but the same. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. So this goes into more into the paranormal. So let me see here. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, somebody's talking about like the Police song "Don't Stand So Close to Me." I mean, that's obviously about a teacher, and a student,
right?
And
I mean the original. What was it? Indiana Jones. Like when all the little girls are.
When he's in
like Yeah.
They're in the pit. That was a college. He was a professor, so they were in college.
But yeah, that's true.
I mean, but you're always going to have these wide-eyed girls looking at their college professors like they're so smart. Oh my gosh, all this knowledge, and you're going to have the pervy old professor. Inevitably. I'm not saying they're all like that, but there's going to be one, and there's at least one on every campus who is flattered that some pretty young thing is looking at him with these fresh new eyes. I mean, that's like a quote straight out of Moonstruck, right? Have you seen this? Right, where Cher's mother's character is sitting there talking to that guy that she keeps seeing with different young girls in the restaurant that she frequents. And, he's like, it's flattering. I like the attention of these young girls that see me through this fresh eyes, and I'm this old coot, and, they're the only ones looking at me like that. So, I mean, I get it from the guy's perspective too, but at least they were in college.
Right.
And to be fair, Harrison Ford would have been a pretty hot professor. Like,
right.
For anybody.
But you said Cher, and that reminded me, she was Anthony Kiedis's babysitter and apparently robbed the cradle.
No shit. Yeah, that doesn't shock me at all. She dated she was. I'm not going to say she was a predator because they were all obviously adults, but she definitely enjoyed younger men.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was like, I was like 16, 17 when she started becoming popular again in the 80s. Like she had that little burst, and she was doing some, I was watching one of her videos on MTV, back in the day when they actually played music videos. And I remember looking at my dad, and I was like, this broad's like twice my age. I was like, and she's got her body looks better than mine does. And I'm like, it's not like I'm in my prime, man. I'm like 17 years old. And my dad said, yeah, well, that's what happens when you got a lot of money and a lot of plastic surgeons.
Right. Yeah. No. And you're doing the whole baby blood thing. So yeah, I pulled it up. So this goes into, because how the Robert Johnson, selling your soul for music and blah 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 goes, the selling your soul to the devil thing and all that. Mm-hmm. So I was actually doing the lyric breakdown to Motley Crue's Wild Side, and it's basically talking about that exact same thing. Mm-hmm. So I pulled the lyrics up, and it's and I'm not going to do in the singing form because I don't sing but mm-hmm. It's a kneel down, you sinners, a streetwise religion, greed's been crowned the new king, Hollywood dream teens, yesterday's trash queens, save the blessings for the final ring, amen. Then take a ride to the wild side.
Right.
Then you go, I carry my crucifix under my death list, forward my mail to me in hell, liars and martyrs lost faith in the Father, long lost is in the wishing well. Right. And then you do the chorus again. Fallen angels so fast to kill, thy kingdom come on the wild side. Our Father who ain't in heaven, be thy name on the wild side. Mm-hmm. Holy Mother, or Holy Mary, Mother may I, pray for us on the wild side. So the wild side is obviously hell.
Yeah.
Right. Name dropping no names, glamorized cocaine, puppets with strings of gold. East LA at midnight, Papa won't be home tonight. Found dead with his best friend's wife. Take a ride on the wild side.
Right.
And then it's can't fight, fatal strikes. We lie on the wild side. No escape, murder, rape. Doing time on the wild side. A baby cries, a cop dies, a day's pay on the wild side. Tragic life on the wild side, blah, blah. So it's like a blatant fucking, a blatant, yeah, dude. But you never really listen to it. Like when you're a kid, you're smoking a doobie, and you're like, on the wild side,
Yeah, you like the tune, right?
You're just singing along with it. but if you break it down like word for word, it's like, wait a minute.
You're like,
what are we subscribing to here?
Yeah. Well, that was, like back in the 80s, they had like the whole satanic panic thing, but
yeah, that's true.
Well,
I mean, and that's what got like people in the 90s, Marilyn Manson. It's the shock. It's the shock value.
It's just shock. Yeah.
But
like you're going to get the I think the issue is like when you get the outcasts, right? The kids that feel like they're outcasts and they want to belong to something and they feel like, oh, I can relate to that. Oh man, they relate to me, and they start taking shit seriously. I mean, that's where it gets scary. Yeah. But then, I mean, I don't even know how to fix that, because if you've got a child that's like feeling on the outskirts and socially they're awkward and nobody's wanting to talk to them, that's where this stuff comes in and takes hold. But I don't believe in the whole like the satanic panic at the time. Like I don't think that, like Motley Crue's out there trying to recruit for Satan. Like I don't.
I don't. I think what it is I think that it's kind of a mixture. Like I think that the spirit influences the rebellion, right? Mm-hmm. And because it knows that it's vulnerable. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it can easily infiltrate.
Well, the rebellion's the rebellion, right? A rebellion is only going to go so far. You still know right from wrong, right?
Right.
You get the loner kid that feels like the outcast, that is, kind of, and I don't want to say shunned, but I mean, at some point, like even if you were to reach out to somebody in that state of mind, if they've been there long enough, no matter how many times you reach out, they're going to continue to build the walls to recluse themselves, and that's when you become really susceptible to like a negative influence.
Yeah, the negative influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
That's when you really take it to heart, and those are the kids that end up like Columbine kind of thing,
Well, yeah, because they're pulling it in too deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I go back to this and I say it a lot, and people, they're especially, I might even lose people on this one, but because I'm a juggalo, right? So with Insane Clown Posse, it was like that. It was a very dark. There was a bunch of negativity, cussing, but whenever you really look into the messages they were talking about, they were actually talking about being positive people, just hating negative people, and like chicken hunting, right? Who's going chicken hunting? We's going chicken hunting. So that was actually about like hunting down and eliminating racists, like racist rednecks.
Right.
Those were the chickens, right? And then you fast forward to Shangri-La, which was the Six Jokers card, and they basically, in so many words, tell you, we're not sorry if we tricked you. We're all about God. We're like, yeah, murder, kill, but we're talking about killing those motherfuckers. Kill the pedophiles and the and the racists.
Do a Dexter Morgan on them,
right? because when you do have a disturbed kid or a kid that has shunned its back on wholeness and goodness, and they're rebelling, the quickest way you're gonna shoo them off is by saying something positive about God or whatever. That's it. Their ears shut and they're moving on to the next thing. If you come at it with a dark side of it, and then go, no, but we're only being dark to the dark people.
Right.
Then you go, yeah, man. And I've seen so many people that like are completely unreachable. And sorry, I'm not trying to get all, religiousy or whatever, but you'll see a lot of people that are, once they've gotten to a certain point, they don't want to hear positive. They don't, it's just like horror movies, especially like back in the 80s. Like you loved it because it was a horror movie, because it was, gross and there's blood, but the good guy always wins in the end. That kind of same concept. Yeah, usually.
Except for Return of the Living Dead, where the whole town got nuked. And it wasn't just the assholes at the crematorium; it was the whole damn town.
Right? Yeah. Or like House on Haunted. House on Haunted. Was it House on Haunted?
No, there was one survivor in House on Haunted. Oh, there's 2 survivors.
Oh yeah, it was the 2
for the remake. Yeah, there were 2.
Yeah,
which was good. Right. I mean, I liked it and I didn't like it. So I liked the remake, and I also part of me was like, nah.
Yeah. That one. Oh man, what was it? Oh, it was. That's what I'm thinking of. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I loved it, because in the end, no one lived. Like right when the chick's driving away, she's like, "Ha ha, I got you." Then he comes up from the back seat, and I'm like, "Yeah, no one lived." Great.
One of the Wrong Turns was like that. Yeah, like these 2 girls, you think they're getting away, they're on like a snowmobile, and they had strung a line.
Yeah, the one it's in the winter.
Yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. I like those twists, because you grow up your whole life going, okay, there's going to be a final girl, or okay, there's going to be a survivor at least, and then boom, and it's like the bad guy wins for once, and you're like, oh shit.
Freaky Geek said House on Haunted Hill had a remake called Rose House. I think you're thinking of Rose Red. Maybe Rose Red was a Stephen King. Right. Yeah, and it's a standalone. It's really not the House on Haunted Hill. And Rose Red, I have the Ellen Rimbauer diaries.
I was going to say, there like 2 or 3 books on that one.
Yeah, they're her diaries, and it's basically that. Like Rose Red was made like to be a movie, and then the books came out after the movie was released, or simultaneously, but it wasn't a book first and then a movie like a lot of Stephen King's. Just like Storm of the Century was not a book first, and the book that you get is essentially the screenplay.
The screenplay of the movie.
Yeah, because I love Storm of the Century.
That's what always weirded me out about Stand By Me versus the Body.
Mm-hmm.
Because other than those 2 parts we were talking about earlier, it's almost word for word a screenplay, but the movie was made, or the book was made before the movie.
Oh yeah. The short, yeah. And I forget which one, because it's part of one of his books, like The Night Shift, where it's a compilation. The Body's part of one of. It's not Night Shift. I forget which one it is. Nightmares and Dreams.
It's not Graveyard Shift, because that was
no. It's definitely not Graveyard Shift. But The Mist is in Graveyard Shift.
Yeah, The Mist is in Graveyard Shift.
Because The Mist was my favorite Stephen King story.
It was. Yeah, it was in Graveyard Shift, wasn't it? Because Night Shift or
The Body.
The Body.
No, I don't think so. Because I read Graveyard Shift like multiple times in junior high.
Wasn't it the one with because I remember reading it about the same time with the Sundog, and that story about the finger that was coming out of the sink, and like each day it would grow a different digit until it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. What book did it originally come out with?
Two Shadows, Richard Bachman. Yeah. My favorite. Go ahead.
No, I was just talking to myself. Sorry.
My favorite Richard Bachman was The Renegades, which was basically like the alternate version of Desperation.
Okay, so Stephen King's The Body was part of the Different Seasons compilation.
Different Season, yeah. Time Traveler called it. I appreciate that, Time Traveler.
Yeah.
Yeah, on my new show, we sometimes we do specific topics, and sometimes me and Monica, we just, you just go off. You'll never know what you're going to hear. Yeah. Last one, I was drinking Mad Dog 2020, and we were just talking BS.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
But I mean, I think those shows are fun, right? I mean, I like doing them. Hopefully you guys like hearing it, because we don't know what the topic's going to be, and the conversation is just it's just flowing naturally, because Joe and I don't really have a discussion about what we're going to like specifically talk about before we hop on. Like he sends me the link like 10 minutes before we go live, and like when he's coming on my show, like I try to schedule it early and get him the link as early as possible, but like we're busy, man. Like we don't talk about the show. I mean, we text all the time, but we're not like always like, what are you going to talk about tonight? I don't know. What are you doing? Like we're not doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, the 10 minutes. Yeah, I know Strange. Yeah, I know Time Travel. I know your doc. Yeah, like 10 minutes before the show tonight, we like jumped on and we're like, so what are we gonna do? I don't know. Oh shit. We're like, oh, we're running about 10 minutes late. Oh, so what?
Yeah. We'll talk about the 80s and the 90s, and then it just goes wherever it goes, right?
It goes where it goes. Yeah. Who would have thought we would have been talking about?
So Joe asked me the other day, like, what was my favorite Stephen King movie? And what was my favorite Stephen King story?
Right.
And my favorite Stephen King story is still The Mist. I mean, I like a lot of them, so it's very difficult for me because I like Salem's Lot. I like
movie or story?
Story. Now, my favorite Stephen King movie is one that some of you might not have ever heard of, and it's a really good story too. But my favorite Stephen King movie is The Night Flyer.
That's awesome. A vampire.
He's definitely a vampire, and it's just so creepy. I love it. I love The Night Flyer.
Yeah,
and it's a unique take on vampires.
Yeah, honestly, Salem's Lot, just the way it was written, it kind of downed me out. I mean, I liked it, but I don't know. It was just written weird, and I don't think I was too much of a fan of it. But I do remember when, The Green Mile came out.
Mm-hmm.
He released it. It was like one book at a time, and it was like 6 little books,
mm-hmm.
And it had the first and the last chapter was Dude at the Old Folks Home, and they never got into that really. They barely got into it in the movie, but I just remember that being I don't know, a really in-depth kind of a thing. And it could have been because I had to wait like a month, because he released 6 books over 6 months. And so you kind of had to wait for it. So it's kind of like, watching like a Netflix series or something. But yeah, The Green Mile, that was really well written, even though it's not necessarily a horror,
It's sad, but I don't feel like Shawshank is a horror either. And
no,
not everything he writes is a horror. I remember specifically the fairy tale kind of story he wrote in the late 80s. Dragon's Eye. No, it's not Dragon's Eye. Is it Dragon's Eye? Anyway, it's one it's medieval times. It's not a horror. I mean, it's a fantasy kind of thing.
Right.
And I got really into that, but then I think I discovered Dean Koontz, and I kind of took a left turn with Koontz for a while there, because I read Watchers, and that's what got me hooked on Koontz. Yeah, because I love Watchers. And then I read Twilight Eyes, because I remember specifically, I was like, oh, hell yeah, this new author, new to me, that I found. And I loved Watchers so much that I went ahead and read Twilight Eyes, and then The Bad Place, and then Whispers and Shadows.
I'll have to check that one out. Yeah, right now I'm enthralled in this. God, it's taken so long. It's audiobook because I'm at work, and I don't have a physical copy. But it's called Zombie Road, and it's written by Michael A. Simpson. And I got turned on to it because the Zombie Road series is like 8 books, but there's a 3-book offshoot of it called The Feral Children, and it's basically about these kids, and they're like they're going like on a field trip from the orphanage to a zoo, and that's when the zombie apocalypse breaks out. So the kids actually end up locking themselves in the zoo, and they're stuck there. So they like, it's like your job to feed the wolves, and there's like a little Native American girl. They're like, I think the oldest one's like 14. And so they each have their own animal that they take care of. And then they go through like about a year of practicing and learning how to kill the zombies and, whole 9 yards. So they end up rolling out, and like there's these 2 twins. They're like Viking or Nordic, and they ride polar bears. You know what I mean? And there's like this one Asian kid who his thing is a spear, and he has like this Black Panther that chills with him, and they all learn to, coincide together. And then it turns out there's this whole freaking 8-book series, and each audio book's like 10 hours. And I'm on like book 6 right now, but I highly suggest, if you ever get bored or any of y'all, check it out. It's on YouTube.
Zombie Road.
Yeah, it's called The Zombie Road.
Because I listen to audiobooks because I haven't in it over it. Like it's like if there's no traffic, it's like an hour and 5 or 10 minutes each way to work. So I'm driving for at least 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to audiobooks, and I'm always looking for new ones because I will blow through a series of books like fast. Yeah. And I just finished the Monster Hunters International series, and that is so cool. Like I love that series. I love that. Okay. So check out Monster Hunters International, but make sure you're reading them in order, because I actually read one of the I found it through a memoir, which is like meant to be like a companion book to the main series. Like they're little offshoots for each, like investigator has their own like memoirs. So I read the Fever memoir, and it was about this chick who's a monster hunter, but she's also part deity. Like her dad is
this one is this the one where the dude and the chick join? He's like a Native American. And okay.
No. So the first book, like the main character is Owen Pitt, right? And it starts off with him. He's an accountant in Dallas, and he's working late, right? He's in his cubicle doing his, 9 to 5, like working late, corporate BS that if you've never had to experience that, count yourself lucky. So he's staying late, and his boss had been on vacation for a long time, and his boss is kind of a jackass. But anyway, he's late too, and gets called into his boss's office, and his boss proceeds to turn into a werewolf and try to kill him. And he ends up, because he's not your typical accountant looking guy. Like he's not some, wafy, thin dude with glasses. Like he's a stout guy. And he ends up throwing the werewolf out the window, right? And he gets visited by this government agency telling him to shut up about monsters. They're not supposed to exist. And then the monster hunting organization contacts him and recruits him. So it just takes off from there, where he joins this monster hunting organization. And they get paid bounties for chasing down all these monsters. And it's a pretty decent book series. It's really good. And I really highly recommend it if you like that kind of storytelling. So I think that that's a good one. And then the Alex Hunter series, if you're familiar with that at all, the Alex Hunter series by Greg Beck is really, really good too. So I recommend that one also. Let's see. And Mickey G, in the Dark. I'll Be Gone in the Dark is a great companion to the HBO docuseries. Preezy left me here by myself, talking about books. So some Morlock trilogy, brilliant original, unlike any other books I've ever read. So are we talking Morlocks like from the Time Machine kind of thing? Because those were pretty creepy in the original Time Machine movie, right? The Morlocks.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
I was just reading the comment from Amy.
Oh, good, because that last Budweiser ran through me. I had to go tinkle.
I was telling them that another book series that's really good is the Alex Hunter book series by Greg Beck. Those are really good, and I recommend those too because that's like adventure.
Greg Beck.
Greg Beck, Greig Beck. And those are actually really cool because it's science based. Like there's spooky stuff and there's like definitely monsters and seemingly supernatural things in it. Like, but it's not like far out in left field, and it's all from a military perspective because Alex Hunter is a genetically modified like soldier, like he's a super soldier essentially. Yeah. It's really a cool series.
That's and the Zombie Road. So yeah, I got started with the Feral Children, then I went back to the original. That was the offshoot, and went back to the original, and that's literally kind of what happened there. One of the main dudes, he gets caught in kind of like kidnapped to be experimented upon. But one of the chicks that works there, she like took pity on because he's like 16, 17 years old. And so she shoots him up with the super soldier serum that she's been taking because he's all broken and busted up. And yeah, and so then later on they rejoin, and now it's like these two kind of super soldier, but they're still kids, and they're like, taking out 200 zombies at a time, and
cool. Every time I hear, I think about like government testing, or like taking kids and experimenting on them. I think of Night of the Comet. Do you remember that movie?
Oh yeah.
So when they're breaking into the bunker, right, and they break into the government's bunker, and they've got the two kids there that they're getting ready to kill, and they're like, "You're going to go see Santa Claus," and I just remember the sisters are like, "Really, Santa Claus?" Yeah. You're like trying to make her feel okay about murdering her by using Santa Claus.
Right. Actually, in my bedroom, we had her out. I got a autograph and stuff by her. The main chick in Night of the Comet. Yeah. I forgot her name. I'm horrible with names.
Well, there was the blonde one and the dark-haired one.
It was the blonde one. Yeah. Okay. The blonde chick. And then up here also I got if I can guide my finger right, the original Sleepaway Camp chick.
Oh, heck yeah. So this
Alyssa Rose.
Yeah. Yes.
She is awesome, and she has a potty mouth from hell.
Oh, I know.
Which is great. Oh, you met her?
No, I don't know her, but this chick that I've been following her for years, and I've seen her like around like at Frightmare and stuff, just because she used to be a handler for the celebrities that would come to that, and she was Felicity's handler, and she was posting a lot of videos and stuff with her.
she is a trip.
She seems like it.
Yeah. And I'll show you one offline because there's no way in hell I could post it online. But I don't know if y'all remember Scream, but the two bathroom girls that are talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. The two preppy chicks.
Bubble butt boyfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, the brunette bathroom girl. Oh, I love her. She's like so freaking cool. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll send you. You're gonna be like, "What the hell?" Actually, I'll send it to you right now, so we can see your.
So you can see my reaction.
Your reaction, yeah, that'll be hilarious. Let's see.
We'll shock Monica on live.
Yeah, let's shock Monica. Yeah,
but yeah. Let you know right now, it is very difficult to actually shock me. It's very difficult to actually shock
Well,
me.
I'm gonna try. Let's see. But yeah, she's Nancy Ann Riddler. One of the cool. But all in all, one of the most down to earth. I love the fact that when these people are, that think that, because I've met so many of them that when they're in like one freaking movie, from 1980 freaking 3,
Right.
and they're like snooty, snotty, and I'm like, dude, you're not known for anything other than that. Like, get off your high horse.
You ain't nobody.
Yeah, you ain't nothing.
Like 2 people seen your movie.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You were relevant 40 years ago. Shut up.
Right, yeah. My kids have no idea who you are. Just shut up and get over it.
And that's my thing is like, everybody's like, oh, I'm famous or I'm semi-famous. Now, you know who's famous? If you can go to a foreign country, say somebody's name and they know who that is. Like if you can go to Abu Dhabi and say a name and they know who that person is, that's famous.
Exactly.
Like Tom Cruise is famous. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
The rest of us are peasants. Right? We might get like 15 minutes of fame, maybe.
Right. I'm trying to find it. I'm not trying to slow down the show, folks. I'm just trying to.
So there's a channel called Dead Man Talking. I have listened to Dead Man Talking since he first started, and he's got an awesome voice. He's a British narrator here on YouTube. Night, Mickey.
Night, Mickey. I got this somewhere. Doop, 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 doop. So who's this dude again? You're saying?
It's called Dead Man Talking.
Dead Man Talking. Okay. There he goes. All right.
Yeah, Wedge mentioned him in the chat, and yeah, I've followed him for a very long time. I like his narration. I like his voice.
You might have to zoom in and turn it sideways to read it, but
okay. Did you text it to me? Yeah. Yeah. I'm in a group chat with Texas fam, and can I tell you that group chats are basically hostage situations?
Dude, I hate that. I literally.
I appreciate it because I need it's info that I need, and it's a convenient way to deliver it. But generally, I don't care for group chats. It hasn't come through yet, man. What's up? What's up with your internet, dude?
It hasn't come through yet.
Well, I have my stalker telling me how cute I look in my last photo. Thank you, sir. It's an coworker who decided to stalk me after he worked with me. Those are always fun. Those are fun.
Oh yeah, it's not going.
Yeah, it's not going through.
Never turn on my Wi-Fi. Maybe that'll help out. That's what I was worried about, is the tower being down. And I would, Amy, totally share it, but it's pretty friggin' vulgar.
He's trying to shock me. Like, you guys can see my hey Benny.
What up, Benny?
Benny and the Jets.
Dude, okay, I'll get, since we're on the 80s and stuff. My mom always told me when I was a kid, I remember listening to that on analog radio.
Was there any other kind of radio back in the day?
Right, yeah. And I remember her saying the way that the song goes is, she's got electric boobs. Her mom has 2. I saw them in a magazine.
There you are. Okay. Well, shit.
Just to find out that has nothing. She's like, yeah, she's talking about, it was about a lady that had cancer, and her mom did also, and breast cancer, and they had to chop them off, and they gave her fake boobs. So she's got electric boobs. Her mom has 2. I read it in a magazine.
If you say electric boobs, I'm going to think of the fembots.
The fembots, right? But then, then my ass is like, 30-something years old, and I actually read the lyrics. And I'm like, call my mom.
Holy shit. She was serious.
I'm like, call my mom. I'm like, you fucking bullshitted me the whole time.
So my only question to that is, who is the fourth person?
Her dude, he played Michael Myers. So he's the Michael Myers that whenever he took the mask off, that
in the remake?
No, in the original. Like when he takes the mask off and you only see his face for a little bit and then he puts it back on. That's her husband.
No shit. All right.
Yeah.
That's his name's Tony. Thing to write on an autograph. I mean, I'm not shocked by the message. I'm surprised that she wrote that on like an autographed photo. Because that is brazen.
I'm telling you, she's awesome.
Yeah, so when you guys hang out with us, we'll just tell you in person.
Yeah. You have to come to New Orleans to find out.
Yeah, because there is definitely no way you can read that. There is nowhere you could read that over the air.
Yeah, we would get in trouble on Rumble for that shit.
Like on everywhere you would get in trouble.
But yeah, and the last time she came down, she just came down to the gas station. They were doing autographs and stuff and just hanging out, and we just hung out, like me, her, and Jen and the kiddo. We hung out till like, I don't know, like 1 or 2 in the morning, just drinking and kicking it, and she's got like the sweetest little voice, and she sounds like a little girl. And it's like, and so when she starts talking like that, when she starts talking like she talks, she's like,
I have a friend with a really high pitched voice like that, and I'm like, because my voice, God, I hate my voice. I feel like I've got like the lowest, like most masculine voice. Like, so when I hear women with the high pitched girly voice,
right?
I'm just like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Jen's the same way. She's got like a
husky voice.
I wouldn't say a dude voice, but like a lower tempered chick voice.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, I don't have a high pitched voice whatsoever. If I really try, I think I can come up like a little higher pitched, but like that's not my everyday talking voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to hate that when I was working corporate, because I worked corporate for shit since I was like 17. Worked at like IBM and big companies and stuff, and like I'd literally be like, hello, well, how are you doing? Well, absolutely, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I'd hang up the phone. I'm like, man, these motherfuckers are pissing me off.
Oh yeah,
I ain't even trying to talk like that. You got to take all the bass out of it. Oh, actually, yes, sir. Your tracking number is 771-258.
Oh no, I did that. I used to get teased like relentlessly in when I worked at Neiman's. I had my "I'm talking to you" voice, and then I had my customer service voice. Like if I had to like get the phone and talk, which is like my radio voice. It's like my radio voice. What can we do for you today? I am happy to help you with that.
Right, exactly.
Feel free to take that, fold it in half, and shove it right up your ass.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. No, and so like with my appearance and the way I look, because I'm a big dude and I got tattoos everywhere and stuff. So like even at the smoke shop I work at now, which I love doing because I don't have to deal with corporate bullshit. Well, you got a point because you're 3 minutes late, But like with when females come in, I have to literally go, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, actually pretty good. Well, okay, if you need any help, just let me know, and I go into that octave, and then like
I do the same thing.
Yeah, and I'll see like a regular cat come in. I'm like, what's up, dude? Shit, man, fucking trying to get a beer after the end of this fucking shift.
No, I have my talking to my clients in our weekly meeting voice, right? And then I have I'm talking to my superintendent after the meeting.
Yep.
And yeah, it just, again, why didn't I marry somebody that had money? Why am I working? I need to not be working. I'm not made to work. Not made to work. Come on.
Dude, yeah, that's another Gen X thing. So like I watch a lot of the videos and they're like, we get up and we work, we party all night, we work and you know, and I'm talking about Gen Xers, and yeah, we did, you know.
Yeah, in my 20s. I'd die if I did that right now.
We party all night, you know, and I do. I hang out till wee hours of the morning and then go to work, but I work later. But they're like, we don't understand, you know, like this is one of my big complaints about it is they're like, we don't understand the word retirement. We're just going to work because if you don't work, you don't eat, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
yeah,
dude, I've been doing this, you know, I've been working since I was, you know, lied on my application, had a job since I was like 14, 15 years old. You know, I'm over it. My retirement's like 4 years ago. Like I'm over it. I'm not going to be one.
There's any wealthy old men that are about to die out there. I can easily be single.
Well, I can pull my 401k, you know.
That's how 401k too. That's my money. I want to spend your money.
But yeah, it's like they have.
We're just tired. I mean, yeah, we're rapidly approaching retirement age, but
they talk shit on the Gen Zers because they're like, I gotta work so much, and I don't even really want to work for a company that's just going to be able to replace me. You know,
I get that. I get that.
And I'm like, I'm on board with y'all on that one. You know,
well, I'm on board with you too, but at the same time, I'm like, bitch, I had to do it when I was your age.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You're 20 something telling me about the struggle.
Yeah. Tell me all about it.
Yeah.
I'm very interested.
Yeah. And now that I'm, you know, pushing 50, then now I'm like, you know what? Fuck where, you know, I don't you know, yeah.
I mean,
especially when you have, you know, all the responsibility of the job, but you have like literally no authority about it. You know what I mean? Because
I have authority, but I'm tired. I don't want it. Somebody else can take it. I don't want it anymore. Right. I'm like, you know, I'm adulting real hard. Yeah. My job.
Well, it got to where the workforce isn't like it used to be. Like back in the Gap when we were young, you know, if you can't do the job, then you're out. That's it. Yeah. Now it's if you can't do the job, we'll give it to someone else who can, but you keep your same paycheck and your same wage level. You know, like, oh, well, go ahead and do that for him because he's not really good at that. Well, then why the fuck is he there?
Yeah.
You know, like
give me his pay too if I'm doing it. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to, when I was at 3M, I had this one chick. She was a lead, and in her department, I was a lead in mine. And I was in shipping, and she'd come and bring like a cart full of, you know, stuff to be shipped out. And she'd be like, oh, come here, let me use your man muscles because this is so heavy. And I'm like, I remember, you know, when we signed up for this job, you had to be able to lift a certain amount of pounds, like 75 pounds or whatever. So
holy shit, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's like you should. So you signed off on it. So don't. And I was like, and then I'm not gonna lie, I kind of, you know, went with the new grade, and I'm like, no, well, if it's my man muscles, well, aren't we supposed to be equal? Anything you can do, I can do, and anything I can do, you should be able to do. So
that's a very sexist remark, saying my man muscle. Like you'd flip that so easy.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah. If I said it to you, and I was like, oh, I need to. Oh, I made a mess. Can you use your woman skills and clean my mess?
Yeah. Up? No shit. That street runs both ways. It's not just, you know. I mean, women typically are the ones that get harassed more, but I mean, men can be harassed as well.
Oh, I've been harassed.
Oh, I have harassed. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, back in the day, I'm sure that I have harassed. Like I said, back when I was a teenager, I was maybe stalking one of my boyfriends. I might have been applicable for an arrest warrant at one point in time.
Right, yeah. No, it's true. Yeah,
it runs both ways.
It does. It does. Like you either have it one way or the other, or you don't have it at all. And back when we were young, we didn't have it at all. So it was just standard shit.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had to have been a much more sneaky than I was, like, at what I did, because I mean, I did it under cover of darkness. All of my shenanigans happened like 2 a.m. ish.
Right. You had to been on the dark web.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to keep it on the down low, but again, everybody knew it was me. I'm like, I wasn't fooling anybody. They knew who the fuck it was doing all this shit. And, again, I might have been applicable for some of the stalking laws that have gone into effect.
Yeah. No.
Poor guy. Poor girl. Like, actually, it wasn't even my boyfriend that got the brunt of it. It was this broad that I thought was trying to move in on my territory. Monica ain't having that shit. I can tell you that.
That's funny.
And then I had a perceived, well, it wasn't even a perceived wrong. Okay, so I had this guy that did not do me kindly. Let me put it that way. And my revenge was upon his car. Your cars are vulnerable if you're not parking in a garage. Just telling you. Like 19-year-old Monica would fuck your shit up. I remember what I did was okay, don't think less of me. I was, this was a very long time ago. This was a very long time ago. So what I did is I had all of my girlfriends, 6 of them. I got an old Tupperware container and I had them all urinate in that container. And then I set it out on the backyard and left it there for a month. And then, yeah, I was there for a minute. And this guy was driving a Mustang at the time. And I knew that his back window was broken out, right? So it was one of those little tiny triangle windows in the back, because it was a 60-something Mustang. So I knew his window was broken out, and I knew I had access to the inside of his car. So what I did was we put the biological, samples out in the backyard for about a month. And then I made a paper mache, because I went and there was a giant oak tree, right? And I was living alone at my grandparents' house at the time. And these oak trees had these big oak balls that would fall down. I don't know what they're made of. We just called them oak balls. So I got the oak balls and a twig, and I paper mache'd myself a twig and berries. Pretty anatomically correct, I might add. So it looked pretty real. I was, my attention to detail was amazing on this thing. Anyway, so what I did is, again, under cover of darkness, my horde and I took the biological samples and the paper mache. I left the paper mache because it was not normal sized. It was a piñata sized.
Right, exaggerated.
And and I left it on his windshield of his Mustang with shaving cream coming out of it. And then we put shaving cream all over his paint. And then I took the biological samples and just painted the inside of his car with it. Got some of the old Rubbermaid gloves, stuck my hand in there with the biological samples, and just bathed the inside of that car with it.
You are vengeful. I like it.
Don't cross me.
Yeah. I was just going to say, do you have a sock on your baseball bat? Because that's the best way to have it. Because Because really, like, if you have a baseball bat, that's what you use. You put a sock on the end, so if they grab it, you still got another swing because they're going to slip off with the sock.
Well, if you hit them enough times, it's already slippery.
Right, yeah. See, that's why you're my co-host.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a glimpse into Monica's, mildly criminal past. And part of the reason they probably have at least one stalking law in my home. Something I did.
Oh yeah. Well, we're coming up on the midnight mark, and I know. Well, it's Friday. You don't have to work, but I know you still had a whole full day at work.
I had a shit day at work too.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you past the midnight hour. Yeah.
Well, you got to go to work tomorrow. This isn't your fault.
Yeah, but I clock in at noon.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah. That's the smoke shop. That's one of the things I love about it. It's like, I'll be here about noon Indian time. So that could be, 11:30 to 1:30, whatever.
Okay, good girl. So Amy said a friend of hers in high school shoved raw shrimp into the AC vents of her boyfriend's truck.
Ooh, that's
so horrible. My father told me to do something similar because I said, what can I do? He's like, don't leave. My father gave me vandalism advice. He said, don't do any permanent damage because that's vandalism. But anything else, like, you can actually get arrested for that if you're leaving like permanent damage on some property. But he was like, you know what you do? You get something that's going to stink really bad. You crawl up under their truck, because a lot of the guys in my high school drove like trucks and shit. So he goes and you put that right up there on that engine block. You get it right up in that engine block somewhere near the intake. And that was sage advice. And my daughter actually did something similar when she moved out. She had this roommate that was just evil when she was in college. I mean, this girl was like terrible, terrible. Like, would steal her shit, was like making crap up, trying to get her like kicked out of the dorm. So my daughter, when she left, took raw shrimp, put it in the AC vents, and took off.
I never had that intentionally done, but living out in the country, whenever it comes like to almost summertime and the snakes are out and they start hunting mice, the mice, dude, it happened to me like probably like 4 years in a row where mice would crawl up into my AC vent, and you could literally, like, when you turn on the AC, it had a squirrel cage because it was like an old Toyota. You'd hear it literally hitting the body. And I was like, dude, in Texas summer. So for like about a month and a half, it was just the smell of death. Like,
oh, that's the worst.
Oh, dude. It was like cool AC or smell of death from mice in my air conditioning.
Oh, man, that's terrible. That's terrible. We had something die under our house. Thank God we have like a pier and beam house, but something like died. Like,
yeah.
Like down my hallway. And it wasn't far from like the back of the house where you can kind of shimmy under, but you have to shimmy under the house to go find whatever the hell it was.
Right.
And it died like in the hallway between the bathroom and my son's like bedroom door. It was like closer to my son's bedroom door, but man, you could smell that in the backyard. There were vultures circling our house. I told Chris, I was like, you got to get under there and get that. And he's like, I need to get under there. How come I have to get under there? You can get under there too.
Yeah, we get probably about once a year we'll get like either a possum or the worst are the skunks.
Yeah.
And I've told you before, Jen's got that whole army of feral kittens and cats and shit that live under my house, so they'll kill it. And especially the skunks, they always come to literally like this into the house right here under this bathroom. And dude, it'll smell like burnt hair, possum, skunk ass for like weeks and weeks, and you're like, how big is this thing? Like,
right?
Can you just turn into a husk and stop stinking?
Please stop. Rot. Please just. So yeah, I mean, Chris was like, "How come I have to get under there? You can get under there." And I was like, I flipped it because I don't yell at Chris very often, but I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Get under that goddamn house and be a goddamn man for your family." Because
yeah,
you get under there. It's like, I'm not going to eat it. You eat it. No, you eat it. Give it to Mikey. Mikey eats everything.
Mikey will eat anything. Yeah.
He was like, no, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it.
That's why I was glad whenever my oldest son got old enough to do that. I'd be like literally on the phone at work. And I'm like, at a corporate job. And I'm like, no, boy, get under there. Grab. He's like, this gross. There's guts. But I'm like, just grab the damn thing. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't have to do nothing. Make him go under the house and.
He was like, oh, God. Yeah. He was like, it's so gross. There were maggots. And he goes, it was a possum. And I was like, okay. And he was like, well, he goes, like, it was starting to melt. And it was, it was pretty far along. Obviously, we were smelling it forever. The vultures were smelling it like they were landing on my roof.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, it left like a puddle and I threw some dirt over it. And I was like, I hope it was a lot of dirt you threw over it. Because otherwise you get right back under there.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually have because of all that, we have, and it's weird, man, because there's out in my yard, there's I got elms and oaks and they're all alive, but there's this one really wicked, I'll have to take a picture for you, really wicked looking dead tree. And for, I think the last probably like, I don't know, maybe 8 years, we've had generations of buzzards or vultures living up in that tree.
Oh,
and wow. they'll come and try to get anything that raccoons or possums or whatever that come into the yard and get killed off by the cats, or just die in general. But yeah, and it's weird too on that, and on the same Jen aspect, those are her pets too, and she'll like they come and the vultures.
Oh.
And they'll come and they'll sit on our electric post. They live in the tree, but they'll come by the house and sit on the electric post because that's where all the shit ends up dying.
Right.
And she's like, she talks to them like they're cats and shit. And she'll be out there. She's like, hey, kitty. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, you're such a handsome little man. Yes, you are. And I don't know if you know this, but they bark like freaking dogs. Like they're like,
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, oh yeah.
They grunt.
Really? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you gotta quit. The cats eat the shit. They eat what the cats fucking kill. They fucking come in. I'm like, you're feeding
after a few days, not even fresh. Like, yeah.
I'm like, you're feeding ecosystems.
It's the circle of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want desperately, I want a crow to friend me. Like, I don't want a whole murder of crows. I want crow friends. Like,
that's a murder.
Oh, I want a whole murder of crows. Right. And that's 3 or more. Because only 2 is attempted murder. So, anyway, yeah, I would love to have crows, but I just don't know how. And they're everywhere around me. Like, they're all over the place here. I'm not sure how to go about making that happen because my cats are patrolling the yard. So no sane crow is going to get anywhere near my freaking fence or anywhere else, which I get. But so I have a story about a turkey vulture that is, well, it was funny to me at the time. It was not funny to the turkey vulture. So I was scouting for some places to do a training camp out in East Texas. And I was coming out of a state park, right, onto Highway 190. And we are deep East Texas, like out by Vidor, I think. Anyway, we were way out there. And I'm waiting. I'm coming out. There's no traffic except one stinking car, right? Coming, and it's coming in the direction I'm going. And I'm like, I don't want this guy riding my ass the whole time back into, Livingston or wherever it was I was going. And so I'm waiting for them to pass. And as he's getting closer, I'm like, the hell is on his grill, right? Because as he's getting closer, there's something wrong with the front of his car, right? And it's an old, like, 1970s Buick with those giant radiator grills in the front. Like, he needs that airflow. So I know he knew that something was up. So I'm like, what the did that dude like strap a teddy bear, like a stuffed animal or something on the grill? And I'm like, the hell? And the closer he got, it became more clear. There was a God blessed turkey vulture that must have been eating something in the road. And, they go to take off. He didn't slow down. He just plowed right into that bird, I'm assuming, because it was like a hood order. I mean, it was like, it was like fully, like wings spread,
sprawled out,
like just plastered to this dude's grill. And I'm like, watching this drive by me, and I'm like, this dude's got to know there's something on his grill, because the air intake, right? The drag, like, you've got to know there's something wrong. Like the air, like there's an interruption to your motor, or the flow or the drag. Cause I know anytime I, hit something, you feel the drag. I'm like, there's no way I'm not feeling that. So anyway, I'm like, that's some crazy shit. That's like the craziest thing I've seen in a hot minute. So I pull in behind him, and as we're going down the road, this old dude, and the dude behind the wheel is like old. And he clearly didn't give a shit. He's driving down the road, and there are bits of this poor bird like falling off and falling down the road. But that was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was like this turkey vulture, like hood ornament, and they are not small birds.
No,
they're big.
Big, yeah.
Yeah, their wingspans like mine almost. Like, and this thing was like, meh. I mean, it was just like plastic.
Yeah, no, that's no bullshit. Like one fucking recently, well, about 6 months ago, didn't get out of the way. It was like, trying to flop up.
Yeah.
And Jen was hauling ass in her freaking Cadillac, and it like did front end damage. Like like you hit a small freaking dog or something,
right?
Like busted out headlights and fucked the grill all
up. Yeah,
I mean,
this thing was like, the car was like, I'm not kidding, it was like a 70s Buick or something. It was steel frame, like it wasn't damaging shit. I mean, the grill might have gotten cracked or something, but that
Detroit
bird
steel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not kidding, like legit the way it was like splayed on the front of the car. I thought that it was like people wire like stuffed animals and shit. I'm like, what kind of freak is this? Because I'll tell you, live in East Texas long enough, you're going to see some weird shit anyway. And I was like, what the hell is this coming down the road? I just remember that was crazy.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, if you want to keep kicking it, or if not, we can wrap it up. I don't give a shit.
I probably have to get off because I've been up for 18 hours now. I'm already getting delirious because I'm telling you shit I probably shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, it's my show. So.
Program.
It's my shit, so you're good. I'm not monetized, and I don't give a shit. Even if so.
I'm just saying, there's evidence.
Yeah.
The statute of limitations doesn't run out, so it gives a shit.
Yeah. Right. No, if ever, just be like, Breezy, take that one down. There was one night. I sound
like a complete lunatic. Please remove it.
Yeah. No, there was one show I did. It was with a buddy of mine, Joe Westfall, and man, we were getting like plastered. It was when I first started doing early shows, and we were both getting like hammered, man. And like, it just so happened, like, I'm like talking, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. And I'm in the middle of a groove, and like, he like starts passing. He's like in his front seat of his car. He's like starts passing out. And I'm like, yeah, you passing out? And like at the same time, like I had to piss like a motherfucker. So I grabbed like a QT, the QT gas station, grab like a QT cup, and I'm like, all right, and like I put it down, I'm like peeing in it, and then like Like, and he wakes up, he's like, "Oh, dude, did I pass out?" I'm like, "No, you good, bro?" Blah blah. And like the next day, I was watching it. I was like, and you could hear the full-on piss in the bottom of the plastic of the cup, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's
all good."
Anyway. Yeah, and he's all. And I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna take that, motherfucker."
Those are the best. Those are the best. I cured my daughter of not peeing before we leave the gas station by making her pee into one of those cups once, because we were driving back from New Orleans actually, and she was like 7 years old, 8 years old, in the back seat, and we had legit, like, I'm not shitting you, like, just pulled into a QT. I'm like, if you gotta go, let's go to the bathroom. I don't have to go. Right. You know the deal. So I'm like, are you sure? When we go in there and you can try. No, I don't have to go. She's being a little pain in my ass. So then we get in the car. We are not, it was not even 5 minutes, and I am not exaggerating. We were like 3 minutes down the road, and we hit traffic, like standstill traffic on 10. And she's like, I have to pee. I can't hold it. I have to pee. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, we can't stop here. Do you want to pee in front of everybody on the side of the road? No. And I was like, okay, well, you're going to pee in this styrofoam. Like, it was like a big gulp cup kind of thing, like in the back seat of the car in standstill traffic. And I was like, your brother can hold up, like, I think we had a towel or something in the back seat. And I was like, your brother can hold it up. And there was like nobody on her side. It was like swamp, because we were on I-10 on the part that's just swamp everywhere. And she started crying because she's like, I want to go back to the gas station. I was like, bitch, we're in traffic and going nowhere. And I was like, you're going to pee. Like I started yelling at her. I was like, you're going to pee in the cup. I made her pee into a big gulp cup in the back seat of a car while in standstill traffic on I-10 in Louisiana. She never not went to the bathroom after that. Like, if I told her to go to the bathroom at the gas station, she went to the bathroom at the gas station.
Right. Well, see, yeah, but as boys, when back in the 80s and shit, that was normal as shit. Be like, dude, I gotta pee, and they'd mom or whoever give you a freaking soda can.
Sure, yeah.
Here, there
or
you go.
A soda bottle or something, yeah.
Yeah, you're
girls can't do that. We can't thread that needle. Like, we need we need like a big gulp cup or something. But yeah, I was like, and don't pee on my seats.
Whatever you do, preserve the upholstery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, awesome, man. Dude, I love the show. I had a great time doing it.
I did too.
Yeah, it was, dude. I think we covered the 80s thing. I think we covered all 9 yards, to be honest.
We did. We covered
the whole horror movies, all the real bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and give your sign out. Tell everybody what's up, and you do every Thursdays, correct?
Right. Every Thursday, I'm live, and Joe is wrong side. You're on this side on my screen. So Joe is usually with me. So yeah, I go live on YouTube every Thursday at 10 p.m. Central on, where am I here? Our Paranormal World. Yep. And it's also, so there's a couple of Our Paranormal Worlds on YouTube. So if you want to go directly to my page, it is at Monica's, like plural, Monica's Paranormal World. And that will take you right to me. My logo is a little, earth with a headset on. So it'll be fun. Come on over. Talk about all kinds of crazy things. I put up little shorts where I talk about different fae and, different things that might interest you. And if you have any suggestions, you can drop them in there. If you want to tell me a story or just say hi, my email address is opw, Our Paranormal World, so opw.monica@gmail.com. And you can also catch me on Facebook, Our Paranormal World, and TikTok and Instagram. Same name.
Down with the OP-Dub. Yeah, you know me.
That's right.
All the homies. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll continue to be your co-host until you tell me to fuck off.
No. I like having Joe. Joe and I, we get along good. We got our personalities get along well.
I think so as well. Yeah, but yeah, I'm always down to be on it, and like I said, until Monica tells me to get on, I will be there with her, side by side, fighting the good fight. So always.
Yep. And be nice, or I'll come and find your car.
Yep, with a sock on a baseball bat.
That's right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
Thank
Breezy.
you.
I always call you Joe. I'm supposed to call him Breezy. Sorry.
Yeah, Joe's my father's name.
Joe is my father.
I don't even know who he is, but
Mr. Breezy is my father.
Mr. Breezy.
Take my strong hand.
That's my strong hand.
Take my strong hand.
My germs.
Me just mix it up there. Just give it a good toss.
I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna lick it. But yeah, I appreciate all y'all for joining in, man. It was a good show. I loved it. Even if some people didn't like it, I don't care. But I loved it personally. Yeah. And thank y'all for joining in. Thank y'all for coming by. One love. God bless all y'all. Keep searching for the truth because it's out there. And keep having fun because we're here.
Hey, life is short. Have fun.
Yeah. You'll always have fun jumping on our show. Either one, whether it's on her channel or my channel, you're always going to have a fucking blast. As long as you're not a fucking prude.
Yeah, don't be a pull the stick out before you come on over.
Yeah, exactly.
Extract
no matter how
thick.
Right, no matter how thick it is. And watch horror porn because it's great. Anyway,
I'm gonna go watch that later. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful art. But anyway, all right, man. Love y'all, and y'all have a great night. And once again, thank you for joining in stream, and then you do the in stream again.
And then you gotta wait like 10